How's it going out there, YouTube? My name is Jesse, and I am the curator for the Golden Age comic books. Now, my filming location has been altered a little bit, so I decided to change things up a little bit. I have a couple of display things here, if you recognize from Star Wars, Slave One, Millennium Falcon, and the X-Wing. The Millennium Falcon's a little hard to see because it's flat, but it's Millennium Falcon. I got these instead of going to Comic-Con this year since, 2020. I don't think I need to explain. Anyways, it's not what we're here for. Today we are going to be going over one of the heroes from the Heroes That You Think You Know series. In the Avengers style video, I covered two characters that were named the Wasp. I've read both of them. It's really weird. We're going to be covering the one Wasp. The first one had only had 2 issues. Now, there is a lot of questions I'm not going to be able to answer because with the 2 issues, they didn't go into a hell of a lot. I can't explain if he has any superpowers besides just being an adept fighter. I can't... There's no origin story. There's no mention of his powers. He has a sidekick in the second issue. There's no telling. There's nothing about why they're working together. And I can't explain the color scheme of the first comic. They left out so many colors on the color palette. It's really rather weird. The second one's fully colored. First issue. I mean, the other stories in the comic book have a full color palette, and they just seem to totally forget colors in the first issue. Second issue has all the colors, but this is the only story in that whole issue that has a color scheme like this. I've seen the comic, so we're gonna cover the Wasp and the 2 issues that he appears. Also, something weird, in the first issue, he sneaks up on someone, but they hear the buzzing noise. And he says, I always warn my victims before I sneak up on them. But in the second issue, he sneaks up on someone with no mention of the buzzing noise. So the consistency of that doesn't even seem to be... well, there's only 2 issues, so who knows what the continuity is. Okay, so let's go ahead and cover the Wasp. And... I don't have anything else. Let's do it. The Wasp, featuring Crime's Greatest Enemy in the Spy Ring Case by J. Fletcher. It seems in the opening page here we get a picture of some people who are going to be appearing in this. Rudolph Lake manufacturer, Philip Wingate banker, Blake Slade reporter, and Don Roberts mechanic. We see our hero, who will turn out to be the Wasp, Burton Slade, talking to the chief of the newspaper. And it seems that he's a reporter, which that was a thing back then, because as a reporter you could get information ahead of time, get the inside scoop on things. Okay, so they find out that there have been some blueprints stolen from an airbase, and the Burton and the chief are talking about it, and then he finds out that Rudolph Lake and Philip Wingate show up and want the chief to join a club that's supposed to be protecting America's interests. After this, we cut to Burton Slade visiting it says Army Air Base. Okay, Army plane stolen, okay. An Army Air Base, because, the Army and the Air Force are the same people. Anyways. We have the mention of the mechanic, but he doesn't seem to be a really much of a factor of a player here. Now we see the Wasp will make his appearance, and as he beats one of the guards, he says that he always warns his victims beforehand. And you can see what I'm talking about with the color scheme. Now, he knocks out the guard and then makes it into the compound, and it seems that he has the other set of plans, because remember, he was just at the Army Air Base, and he says that he'll send, well, Wingate and later are talking about how they have formed this club with the editor of the paper, and they did this just so they can get the inside scoop on things. The Wasp shows up and says that he has the plans and sells it to them. After they give him a considerable amount of money, it looks like $5,000, it's revealed that the blueprints are fake. Now, they chase down the Wasp, who escapes the compound, and then the gang, who are trying to steal the blueprints for someone, they never said who they're working for, speed away in a car. And then another car starts to follow that. Now, I'm a little confused about this next scene, because it appears that the Wasp was following the Crooks, but it looks like the Wasp showed up to the docks before the Crooks did, because he knocks out this guy and takes his place, which is really confusing, because if he was following them, how did he end up where they were going before they even got there? I mean, this guy's got to have some hell of an intuition for that. So we found out that he informed the cops where he was going before he left. He gets on the radar, and radar's where this boat is. They bomb the boat with tear gas, and the Wasp gets away. As the criminals are being arrested, the chief is basically going over the story. The spy ring is broken, and the chief wants to know how the Wasp gave the story to Burton, because Burton told the chief that the Wasp gave him the plans, and he's like, I don't know, chief, you'll just have to ask the Wasp next time you see him. And that's how the first story ends. So we start off with the next adventure of the Wasp, and it doesn't even seem like he's a reporter anymore. They don't seem to cover it. They are looking for someone, and there's two of them this time. So they find a house and they separate, and the Wasp partner, Mr. Barnes, he gets knocked out and captured while he is talking to the professor. Barnes is talking to the professor, and we find out that this was a trap set up so he could take revenge on the Wasp. While Mr. Barnes is having his discussion, the Wasp takes out a couple of guards outside. Barnes decides that he's going to try and get himself free, so he throws something at the professor, and he gets knocked on his ass, and just before the professor shoots him, the Wasp busts in and shoots the gun out of the professor's hands, and then the Wasp and Barnes disappears, or something like that. They're just gone. So in the next scene, we see the gang getting into a car and going to their next destination, which, oh hey, it has to do with boats again. It's like in the first one. But as in the previous one, the Wasp and Barnes shows up before the criminals do, even though they had no idea where they were heading. And this is what I meant about the Wasp not letting his victim know that he had shown up. Okay, so they take the boat, and the professor decides to go after them. So they see this boat on the water, and they bank around the boat to get away from the criminals. And after they bank around the boat, the one of the professor's goons says, hey, we can't make this turn. And the professor says, do it or I'll shoot you. So they bank around the boat, get hit, and capsize. And Barnes tells the Wasp that ought to take care of him for good. And the Wasp says, I wouldn't be too sure about that, Bill. The professor is a hard guy to say goodbye to. I wish I really knew. And then they say they better put the boat back. Okay, he says, we better put the stuff back before they miss it and get you to a hospital, Bill. So apparently, this whole time, Bill's been working with a concussion. And right here that says, is the professor really dead? Follow the further exciting adventures of the Wasp in our next issue, which doesn't happen. This is the second and last appearance of the Wasp. So, 2 issues. There it is. Okay, that was the Wasp. Short issues, very little talk about. If there is one of the heroes that you'd like me to cover for the month of November from the heroes that you thought you knew list that I didn't go into a lot of details on, you can let me know and I can try and expand on them a little more like I did in this video. December's coming up soon. I want to try to do a couple top 10 lists, which I haven't done for so very, very long. Also, I really need to stop reading comic books because the lists have altered since then too. Okay, but that's for November. December's coming up soon. Until next time, I'll be seeing you.